Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. I'm really glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe today felt long and heavy, or maybe your mind still feels busy, gently replaying thoughts you don't need anymore. Or perhaps you simply enjoy falling asleep to calm ideas and quiet stories instead of silence. However you arrived, you're exactly where you need to be right now. Tonight, there is nothing you need to do. There is nothing you need to learn, solve, or remember. You don't need to concentrate, and you don't need to stay awake. You can listen loosely, letting the words pass by like soft background music. If your attention drifts away, that's perfectly fine. Sleep is the goal here, not effort. As you rest, imagine gravity loosening its grip just a little. Not enough to lift you away, only enough to let your body feel lighter and calmer. Your thoughts can begin to slow, floating gently like dust motes drifting through a warm beam of sunlight. They don't need direction or meaning. They can simply appear, drift, and quietly fade on their own. Tonight's journey isn't about stargazing or understanding the universe. It's about resting among the stars. The solar system isn't loud or dramatic when you look at it closely. It's calm and patient, like a quiet neighborhood at night. Planets move the way clocks do in old rooms, slowly and reliably, never rushing, never asking for attention. As you breathe in, let the air feel soft and warm. As you breathe out, allow your shoulders to sink just a little deeper into rest. Your jaw can loosen. Your hands can rest wherever they feel most comfortable. With each gentle breath, your body becomes heavier and warmer, as if the night itself is settling around you. You don't need to stay awake for this story. You don't need to follow every sentence. If your mind wanders, that's a sign you're doing this exactly right. The universe doesn't require your full attention. It has been quietly turning for billions of years without being watched, and it will continue to do so while you rest. If you enjoy falling asleep this way, guided by soft science and gentle storytelling, you're always welcome to return another night. This channel will be here for you, waiting quietly whenever you need rest. There's no urgency, no pressure, just a familiar voice in the dark. Now, let your awareness drift slowly outward, away from the room you're in and away from the day you've had. Let it move gently towards something warm and steady. At the center of our solar system, there is a calm presence that has glowed patiently for billions of years. A steady source of warmth and light, never rushing, never demanding anything at all. And as we begin, we'll start there, with the sun, not as something fierce or overwhelming, but as something quiet, constant, and deeply reassuring. At the center of our solar system, there is something warm and steady, something that has been quietly present for billions of years. The sun is not a roaring fire or a violent explosion frozen in time. Instead, it produces its energy through a slow, patient process called nuclear fusion. Deep within its core, tiny particles come together, releasing warmth and light in a controlled, constant way. It's less like a blaze and more like a hearth fire that never flickers, a candle that doesn't sputter or burn out. You might imagine it as a golden heartbeat pulsing gently at the center of everything, never rushing, never stopping. The sun doesn't shout its presence, it hums softly, offering warmth without urgency, light without demand. And from that calm glow, everything else begins. From the sun's steady warmth, something invisible reaches outward, touching every planet, moon, and grain of dust. This is gravity, and it isn't a harsh pull or a sudden grab. Gravity is more like an invitation, a gentle curve in space that encourages planets to stay close. Nothing in space is tied down, and yet nothing drifts away. You can imagine gravity as a blanket softly tucking the solar system in, or as a slow dance where no one is leading and no one is being forced to follow. It's a lullaby made of motion, reassuring rather than controlling. Gravity doesn't rush or tighten its grip. It simply holds, patiently and constantly, allowing everything to feel secure in its place. Because of this gentle embrace, the planets move along calm, predictable paths. Each world follows its orbit, the way a well-worn walking path curves through a quiet park. These paths are smooth, familiar, and deeply reliable. No planet ever gets lost. No planet needs to decide where to go next. The solar system prefers routines, and it repeats them endlessly. Like a music box turning on its own, the planets circle again and again, creating seasons that breathe in and out with perfect timing. There is comfort in this repetition, a sense that nothing unexpected is about to happen. Everything knows where it belongs, and everything keeps moving, just as it always has. All of this motion happens in near perfect silence. Space itself does not carry sound the way air does. There is no roar, no echo, no background hum between the planets. Imagine the quiet of snowfall late at night, or a room wrapped in thick curtains where even your own breath feels hushed. That is what space is like. The universe does not make noise. It doesn't announce itself or interrupt. Instead, it offers a silence so complete that it feels restful rather than empty. In that quiet, motion becomes gentler, and even the idea of time begins to soften. In different parts of the solar system, time itself feels different. The passage of time changes depending on gravity and motion, stretching and compressing in subtle ways. You might imagine time as a ribbon pulled gently longer in some places, or like honey slowly dripping from a spoon. In space, clocks don't all tick the same way. Some moments last longer than they seem they should, while others pass almost unnoticed. This reminds us that urgency is not built into the universe. Time is flexible, patient, and unbothered. There is no need to hurry when the cosmos itself is so relaxed. On some planets, this slowness becomes especially clear. Venus, for example, rotates so slowly that a single day there lasts longer than an entire year. The sun rises, lingers, and sets at an unhurried pace, as if it has nowhere else to be. You can imagine endless sunsets and sunrises that take months instead of minutes. On these worlds, morning does not rush into afternoon. A single sunrise can outlast a year. Slowness isn't a problem there. It's simply the natural state of things. And as we move forward, we'll begin to explore how each planet develops its own quiet personality, shaped by time, motion, and gentle cosmic conditions. Closest to the Sun, Mercury experiences time in a way that feels almost dreamy. Because the planet rotates so slowly, the Sun doesn't simply rise and set. Instead, it seems to hesitate. Light stretches across the horizon like a long, lazy yawn. In some places, the Sun even appears to pause or drift backward for a while, as if it's reconsidering its journey. On Mercury, mornings are never rushed. A sunrise can take days, unfolding gently, patiently, without urgency. It's a reminder that slowness is not delay. Slowness can be soft, intentional, and calm, like the universe taking a deep breath before continuing on its way. Moving outward, we arrive at Venus, a world that prefers to stay partially hidden. Venus is wrapped in thick, reflective clouds that scatter sunlight in every direction. From afar, it glows softly, like a pearl resting in mist or a lamp shining behind frosted glass. The surface beneath those clouds remains unseen, protected by layers of swirling atmosphere. Venus never fully reveals itself, and it doesn't need to. Some planets prefer gentle light over sharp clarity. There's comfort in this softness, in being wrapped and insulated, allowing warmth to linger quietly rather than escape too quickly. Those same clouds help Venus maintain a steady warmth, and they accompany another unusual trait. Venus rotates in the opposite direction of most planets. While others spin one way, Venus turns the other, like a dancer, moving calmly against the flow of a crowded room. Its days unfold backward compared to ours, like a clock that moves gently in reverse. This isn't rebellion or resistance. It's simply difference, existing without conflict. Venus reminds us that not every world needs to move the same way to remain balanced and whole. From Venus's unusual rhythm, we return to something more familiar. Earth, our home, spins steadily beneath our feet. But even here, nothing stays perfectly constant. Over vast stretches of time, Earth's rotation is slowly easing. Our days grow longer by tiny fractions of a second, millisecond by millisecond. It's like a tired top winding down, or a heartbeat gradually slowing into rest. Even Earth is learning to relax. Time stretches quietly, encouraging patience rather than urgency, reminding us that slowing down is a natural part of long existence. This gentle slowing is influenced by Earth's constant companion, the Moon. Year after year, the Moon drifts a little farther away, moving outward by just a few centimeters at a time. It's like a loved one taking careful steps back, not leaving, just making space. There's no sudden separation here, only a long, patient adjustment. Distance doesn't mean loss. The bond remains, shaped differently over time, like an orbit built on trust rather than closeness alone. Even as it drifts away, the Moon continues to support Earth in quiet ways. Its gravitational presence helps stabilize Earth's tilt, keeping our seasons gentle and predictable. You can imagine the Moon as a steady hand resting on a spinning globe, or a soft anchor that prevents wild swings. It doesn't control Earth. it simply supports it. Some stability comes from companionship, from having something nearby that helps keep your balance while allowing you to move freely. And from this familiar harmony, we begin drifting outward toward the vast calm of the outer worlds. Between the inner planets and the giants beyond lies a region that is often misunderstood. The asteroid belt is not a crowded field of tumbling rocks. Instead, it is mostly empty space. The asteroids within it are spread far apart, like floating pebbles inside a vast cathedral. There are wide, quiet gaps where nothing passes at all. Space here leaves room to breathe. Emptiness isn't dangerous or chaotic. It's calm, open, and gentle. A quiet stretch before something larger begins to appear. Beyond this peaceful region, Jupiter comes into view. It is so large that every other planet in the solar system could fit inside it. Jupiter feels less like a solid object and more like a deep ocean of swirling clouds. It moves slowly, carrying immense weight without aggression. There is a guardian-like presence to it, as if its size alone is enough to shape the space around it. Jupiter makes the solar system feel both smaller and safer, a reminder that strength does not need to announce itself. That strength quietly serves a purpose. Jupiter's powerful gravity acts like a cosmic shield, subtly redirecting comets and debris that might otherwise wander inward. It doesn't block everything, and it doesn't act with precision or intent. It simply exists, and its presence changes paths. Like a silent watchman or a wide net drifting through space, Jupiter protects without asking for recognition. Protection doesn't need applause. Sometimes it works best when it's barely noticed at all. Within Jupiter's vast atmosphere, storms swirl slowly and patiently. The Great Red Spot, a massive storm larger than Earth, has been turning for centuries. It doesn't rush or rage. It rotates like a slow whirlpool, a breathing eye that never quite closes. Even chaos here feels calm. This is endurance without urgency, motion without panic. Jupiter storms remind us that even powerful forces can move gently when given enough time. From Jupiter's immense presence, we drift to something softer. Saturn appears light and delicate by comparison, even though it is still a giant. Saturn is so low in density that, in theory, it could float in water. It's like a ballooned world, a planet made partly of breath. There is lightness within its size, a sense that weight does not always mean heaviness. Saturn carries itself gently, unburdened by its own scale. That gentleness is most visible in Saturn's rings. They stretch wide across space, yet they are astonishingly thin. From a distance, they look solid and bold, but up close they are delicate, like floating lace or frosted glass. Saturn wears its fragile jewelry effortlessly, reminding us that even giants can be delicate. Beauty does not need thickness or weight to exist. And as we leave Saturn behind, we prepare to drift even farther into colder, quieter regions where the solar system grows dim and still. Saturn's rings may look solid and bold from far away, but up close, they are made mostly of ice, mixed with tiny grains of rock and dust. They are less like metal bands and more like frozen snowflakes suspended in time. Each piece drifts on its own, separated by wide spaces of quiet darkness. What looks solid is mostly empty space, and what looks heavy is surprisingly fragile. You can imagine the rings as a shattered moon turned into glitter, or cosmic frost that never quite settles. Their beauty comes from impermanence, from the way something delicate can exist for so long without needing to be fixed or held together tightly. Many of those icy fragments likely come from Saturn's large family of moons. Saturn is never alone. It has more than 80 moons, each one following its own rhythm, each one circling at a comfortable distance. Together, they feel less like a crowd and more like a choir, humming softly at different pitches. You might picture them like fireflies circling a lantern, or children orbiting a calm parent who never needs to call them closer. There is community here without noise or pressure. Each moon has space to move freely, yet all remain connected through gentle motion. Among these many moons, some are far more active than they first appear. Beneath thick layers of ice, certain moons may hide vast oceans of liquid water. Enceladus is one of them. Beneath its frozen surface, water may be quietly flowing, moving in darkness, dreaming under ice. These are sleeping seas, never touched by sunlight, yet not lifeless or still. It's a reminder that not all oceans see the sky, and not all potentially life-friendly places announce themselves loudly. Mystery here doesn't demand answers. It simply exists, patiently, without urgency. These hidden oceans stay warm, not because of fire or sunlight, but because of motion. As moons orbit their planets, gravity gently stretches and squeezes them, creating heat deep inside. This process is slow and constant, like kneading dough, or the steady rise and fall of breathing. It's like a warming blanket wrapped from the inside out. Energy doesn't always burn. Sometimes it arrives quietly, sustaining warmth without flame. These soft processes allow moons to remain active without chaos, warm without noise. On Enceladus, some of that hidden warmth escapes into space. Through long cracks in the ice, water vapor sprays outward in fine plumes. It's not an eruption or explosion, but something closer to a sigh. A breathing moon, releasing mist like steam rising from snow on a cold morning. This expression makes no sound. It's gentle, continuous, and calm. Even frozen worlds can exhale, sharing a little of what they hold inside without disturbance. Over time, these gentle releases help replenish Saturn's rings. The rings are not fixed or finished. They renew themselves slowly, like a necklace that quietly repairs its own broken links, or snowfall that never quite settles into a final shape. Nothing in space stays exactly the same, but change happens so gradually that it feels like stillness. Even here, motion and renewal occur without disruption. And as we drift farther outward, we leave Saturn behind and move toward colder giants, where differences become even more subtle and quiet. Farther from the Sun, Uranus appears as a world that chose a different way to rest. Unlike most planets, Uranus spins on its side, tilted so extremely that it looks like a rolling marble drifting through space. You might imagine it as a planet lounging comfortably, or a tipped lantern glowing softly at an angle. Uranus didn't make a mistake. It simply took a different path. Sometimes, balance doesn't mean standing upright. Sometimes, it means finding stability in an unexpected position. Because of this unusual tilt, Uranus experiences seasons that feel endless. Each season lasts more than 20 Earth years, stretching slowly across time. Summers linger, winters unfold gradually, nights can last decades, followed by equally long days. Time moves gently here, like a slow inhale that never quite finishes. There is no rush for change. The planet seems content to remain in one mood for a very long time, teaching patience simply by existing. Uranus also carries a soft blue color, created by methane in its atmosphere. The methane absorbs red light, leaving behind cool blue tones that make the planet look calm and distant. It resembles a pale blue marble or a piece of frosted glass drifting through darkness. The color feels less like paint and more like mood. Blue born from silence. Looking at Uranus feels like looking at twilight itself, a reminder that color can be gentle and subdued, not bright or demanding. Beyond Uranus, Neptune waits in even deeper cold. Like Uranus, Neptune shares a blue hue, but beneath that calm color, there is motion. Neptune has the fastest winds in the solar system, racing through its atmosphere at incredible speeds. Yet these winds make no sound. They move like invisible rivers or racing shadows, full of energy but without noise. Speed here does not equal chaos. Even the fastest motion can remain gentle when it unfolds in silence. Those winds shape storms that drift across Neptune's surface. These storms appear, move slowly, and eventually fade away. They don't cling to existence. They don't fight to remain. Like ink dissolving in water or clouds forgetting their own shape, Neptune's storms come and go. Nothing holds on forever. Letting go is built into the system, written into the planet's atmosphere as a quiet truth. At this distance, even sunlight arrives patiently. It takes more than 4 hours for light to travel from the Sun to Neptune. By the time it arrives, it has crossed billions of kilometers, spreading thinner and softer along the way. It's like a delayed message, a letter crossing oceans before being gently delivered. Light arrives late, but it still arrives. Distance teaches patience. And beyond Neptune, the solar system begins to thin and fade, preparing us for the quiet edge where motion becomes almost imperceptible. Beyond Neptune, the solar system does not end suddenly. Instead, it thins and softens, fading gently into a wide, distant region known as the Kuiper Belt. This area is filled with icy remnants left over from the solar system's earliest days. You might imagine it as a snowy shoreline at the edge of a vast ocean, or forgotten pebbles resting at the end of a long path. It feels like a quiet attic of the solar system, holding old pieces that were never thrown away. Endings here do not arrive with a stop. They dissolve slowly, giving way to stillness rather than emptiness. Drifting within this quiet region are many small worlds, and Pluto is one of them. Pluto is not alone, even though it once seemed distant and solitary. It belongs to a larger family of dwarf planets, each one small, icy, and quietly persistent. You can think of Pluto like a quiet town beyond a busy city, or a small lantern glowing far away in the dark. Size does not determine importance here. Even the smallest worlds matter, simply by existing, simply by continuing their slow paths through space. Pluto's journey around the Sun is long and unhurried. It takes more than 240 Earth years to complete a single orbit. Its path is stretched into a gentle oval, carrying it sometimes closer, sometimes farther away. Pluto is a wandering traveler, moving patiently along a loop that does not rush to close itself. Some journeys last longer than lifetimes, and that's perfectly fine. Travel does not need speed to be meaningful. Pluto takes its time, and space allows it to do so. At such a great distance, Pluto lives in deep cold. Its surface is made of frozen gases, including nitrogen, methane, and carbon monoxide. Here, air itself becomes snow. Frosted breath settles into solid ground, creating a landscape that feels hushed and crystalline. Cold, in this place, is not destructive. It is creative. It shapes planes, textures, and subtle colors, reminding us that beauty can emerge even in extreme quiet. Despite the cold, Pluto is not motionless. Its surface features mountains made of solid water ice, so hard and strong that they stand like stone. These mountains look like frozen waves, captured in the act of rising. They are the result of slow geology built over immense time without heat or fire. Ice can be strong. Mountains do not always need warmth to exist. Strength here comes from patience and stillness rather than force. Pluto also shares its journey with a close companion named Charon. Together, they orbit each other like two dancers circling a shared center. Neither leads, neither follows. Their gravity binds them into a partnership rather than a hierarchy. This quiet dance shows us balance through companionship, motion shaped by mutual presence. And beyond Pluto and Charon, space grows even quieter, preparing us for the farthest reaches of our solar system. As we move beyond the Kuiper Belt, the solar system begins to blur at the edges. There is no hard boundary where it suddenly stops. Instead, it fades into the Oort cloud, a vast spherical region of distant icy objects. This transition feels like fog dissolving into night, or snow thinning into mist. Boundaries blur here. The solar system doesn't end. It slowly lets go of its shape, becoming softer and less defined the farther out you go. The Oort cloud may extend nearly a light year away from the sun, reaching distances that are difficult to imagine. At this scale, distance becomes abstract. Home stretches farther than expected, surrounding the solar system like a halo of whispers. These objects are so far away that even the idea of closeness loses meaning. Vastness here is not threatening. It is quiet and spacious, offering room for rest rather than fear. Within the Oort cloud, objects move with almost no urgency at all. Their orbits can take millions of years to complete. Drifting so slowly, they appear nearly motionless. Time feels frozen here, like a paused musical note that never quite fades. Motion is remembered rather than seen. This is deep stillness, a place where time itself seems content to rest. Occasionally, something stirs. From this distant calm, a comet may begin its long journey inward. At first, comets are quiet, icy bodies, sleeping travelers that have spent ages in darkness. They are like seeds, waiting patiently for warmth, holding long dreams without any need to awaken. Not all movement begins suddenly. Some journeys start so slowly they feel like they've always been happening. As a comet approaches the sun, warmth gently changes it. Light and solar wind shape its glowing tail, brushing material away like hair moving in a breeze. The tail is not formed by speed, but by sunlight. It's a luminous scarf painted softly by the sun itself. This interaction happens without touch, a quiet conversation between light and ice. After passing the sun, comets retreat once more into darkness. Their brightness fades, activity slows. It's like a sigh after effort, or lights dimming at the end of a long day. Rest returns naturally. Every journey ends in calm, and brightness is always temporary. As comets settle back into the dark, we're invited to reflect on the solar system as a whole, a place defined not by noise or speed, but by patience, balance, and quiet continuity. The solar system has been here for a very long time. It formed about 4.5 billion years ago, long before Earth had oceans, before mountains rose, before life began to notice the sky. You can imagine it like a very old tree, its age recorded in rings hidden deep inside stone. Or like a story written so slowly that no single moment stands out. The solar system remembers beginnings we cannot. Its age is not a sign of decay or wear, but of wisdom. It has learned how to exist without urgency, how to continue quietly through unimaginable stretches of time. Despite this great age, the solar system remains remarkably calm and stable. Planetary orbits continue with quiet reliability, repeating their paths again and again without drama. Nothing here rushes or collides by accident. You might picture it as a perfectly balanced mobile hanging in still air, or a finely tuned instrument that never drifts out of harmony. Stones rest where they belong. Balance, it turns out, can last for billions of years, and that kind of reliability offers a deep sense of comfort. This stability comes from shared origins. All the planets, moons, and smaller bodies form from the same ancient disk of gas and dust that once circled the young sun. Like clay on a spinning potter's wheel, that material slowly shaped itself into many different forms. When the motion settled, worlds remained. Everything here began together. Different planets took different paths, but they all came from the same place, like members of a family who grew into unique lives after sharing one home. That shared material never fully disappeared. Even now, space is filled with microscopic dust drifting quietly between planets. These tiny grains float like glitter caught in sunlight, or ash left behind by old fires. Sometimes it feels like a quiet snowfall that never quite reaches the ground. Space is not empty. Dust carries memory, holding fragments of ancient events, traveling endlessly without needing attention. Small things, it seems, can last a very long time. Occasionally, some of this dust meets Earth's atmosphere and becomes what we call a shooting star. These are not stars at all, but tiny grains burning briefly as they pass through the air. They appear for only a moment, like a fleeting wish or a quick spark of breath against the dark sky. Most stars fall very quietly. Their beauty lies in how short they are, in the way they appear and disappear without asking to be remembered. Most of these meteors never reach the ground. Earth's atmosphere acts like a soft shield, absorbing them gently. You can imagine it as a warm curtain or a welcoming fire that dissolves sharp edges into light. Earth quietly takes care of itself. Protection doesn't have to be loud or forceful. Often, it works best when it feels gentle and unseen. And from this quiet safety, our attention begins to turn inward, toward perspective and perception. From far away, the solar system is almost invisible. Even nearby stars would barely notice it. From that distance, it becomes something like a grain of sand on a wide shore, or a dim porch light glowing faintly in the night. From afar, we disappear. And yet, small things can still be complete. There is no sadness in this perspective, only calm. Being small does not mean being insignificant. It simply means being contained, whole, within your own quiet space. As light travels outward from the sun, it grows weaker the farther it goes. Brightness spreads thin across space, like butter slowly spread over warm bread, or ripples fading as they move across water. A voice softens the farther it travels. Light learns to whisper. Distance doesn't erase it, it only gentles it. What remains is not loss, but softness, a gradual easing rather than a sudden end. Because of this, darkness becomes the natural state of space. Space is mostly dark, with light appearing only in scattered places. Darkness comes first. Light rests inside night, like a small flame in a quiet room. This darkness is not threatening. It feels more like the calm just before sleep, or the comfort of a room with the lights turned low. Darkness, here, is not absence. It is rest. Within this darkness, stars live their quiet lives. Stars are born. They shine steadily for a time, and eventually they fade. They are not eternal, and that is not something to fear. You might imagine them like campfires burning low, or candles slowly finishing their wax during a long evening. Everything gets to rest, eventually. Endings in the universe are rarely sudden. They unfold gently, without urgency or drama. Our sun is one of these calm stars. It is about halfway through its life and will continue shining for billions of years to come. There is no hurry. You can picture it as a steady lantern, or a patient heart, or a reliable fire that never flickers. The sun isn't in a rush, and neither is the universe around it. There is plenty of time. All of this time unfolds while the solar system moves together through the galaxy. The sun and its planets travel as one, orbiting the Milky Way in a long, slow journey. It's like a raft drifting on a vast river, or a family traveling together along a shared path. Nothing here is left behind. Motion is collective, calm, and continuous. And as this gentle journey continues, we prepare to slow even further, approaching the final stretch of rest. The solar system is always moving, but it moves so slowly that the motion feels almost like rest. As it travels around the center of the Milky Way, one full orbit takes about 225 to 250 million years. That means a single year for the galaxy lasts longer than all of recorded human history combined. You might imagine this movement like a slow carousel turning in the dark, or a patient spiral drifting without markers or milestones. We move, but very slowly. The journey has no deadlines, no checkpoints, no rush to arrive anywhere at all. This unhurried travel creates a deep sense of safety. Despite moving through space for billions of years, the solar system has remained intact. Nothing here is fragile. You can picture it like a raft that never tips, gliding steadily across calm water, or a song that never loses its rhythm, no matter how long it plays. Stones rest together, balanced and unbothered by time. Stability can last, and it often does, when motion is gentle and continuous. That endurance comes from balance, quietly maintained. Gravity is always at work, even when we don't notice it. It shapes every orbit, guides every path, and keeps everything gently in place. Gravity is like an unseen hand or a constant hum beneath the surface of reality. It never announces itself. It doesn't need credit or recognition. Support here is silent and dependable. Gravity never sleeps. And because of it, nothing falls apart. This invisible care allows patterns to repeat themselves. Repetition is not a flaw in the universe. It is one of its favorite designs. Orbits repeat. Cycles return. Rhythms echo again and again, like ocean waves rolling onto shore, or breath moving in and out without thought. The universe follows familiar routines. It's like a lullaby chorus that comes back each time, exactly when you expect it. Nothing new is required for things to continue peacefully. Because these patterns are so reliable, planetary motion can be predicted far into the future. The planets follow their paths like clockwork stars, tracing lines that have already been drawn. Nothing surprises them. Tomorrow is already calm. This certainty doesn't feel restrictive. It feels reassuring. Knowing where things are going removes the need for worry or vigilance. And even when change does come, it arrives slowly. Large transformations in the solar system take millions of years to unfold. Mountains rise gradually. Surfaces reshape at a pace so gentle it's almost invisible. Time stretches, like paint drying or stone wearing smooth underwater. Nothing here changes suddenly. Time moves softly, offering reassurance through its patience. And with that reassurance, we begin winding down, moving toward more familiar thoughts. Earth has always been part of this calm system. It formed from the same gentle processes as the rest of the solar system, shaped from dust and gas that slowly gathered and settled. You might imagine Earth as a child of dust, born in a shared cradle, growing gradually into a home. Earth belongs here. We were never separate from this larger rhythm. From the very beginning, our planet has been moving in harmony with everything around it. Earth never travels alone. It moves with the sun, alongside other planets, moons, and countless smaller companions. It's a group journey, a shared path through space. You can picture it like holding hands while walking in the dark, or leaving a trail of shared footsteps behind. Nothing here drifts by itself. Companionship is built into the structure of motion, and that companionship brings a sense of safety. This shared movement is smooth and continuous. Earth doesn't stop or start suddenly. There are no jolts or sharp turns. Motion here is like a train gliding along well-laid tracks, or a river flowing steadily without interruption. You are already moving gently, even now. Nothing jerks or snaps. Stress has no place in this kind of motion. These gentle movements create the cycles we know so well. Day and night are part of a calm rhythm, unfolding again and again without effort. As Earth turns, light gives way to darkness, like curtains slowly closing or a lamp dimming at the end of the day. Night always comes. Rest is built in. You don't have to earn it or schedule it. It arrives naturally, right on time. Night also opens a window outward. When darkness settles, the lights of the solar system become visible. Stars and planets appear quietly, revealed rather than announced. It's like lights turning off inside a room, allowing the outside world to come into view. Darkness reveals, not hides. Night is generous, offering a glimpse of the wider universe without asking you to stay alert. And even that watching can fade. You don't need to stay awake to belong to the universe. Consciousness is not required for existence. Like sleeping passengers on a long journey, you can rest while motion continues. Lights stay on. Paths remain steady. The universe carries on without your attention, and you are allowed to rest. With that reassurance, the final descent into sleep begins. The solar system does not need to be observed in order to exist. Planets continue their paths, and stars continue to shine, whether or not anyone is watching. You can imagine a clock ticking softly in an empty room, or waves rolling onto a dark shoreline long after everyone has gone to sleep. Lights stay on even when no one is there to see them. Nothing waits for us. The universe continues on its own, calmly and reliably. Realizing this can feel like a relief. It means there is nothing you need to monitor, nothing you need to hold together. Responsibility gently loosens its grip. In fact, the solar system has never needed human thought at all. Long before words existed, rivers flowed. Mountains stood tall before anyone drew maps of them. Light filled space before language tried to describe it. Nothing here depends on thinking. The universe does not ask questions, and it does not wait for answers. This can feel freeing. If thought is not required, then thinking can fade. You don't need to solve anything tonight. Your mind is allowed to rest without consequence. When minds rest, the world remains unchanged. A sleeping bird does not stop the sky from turning. Parked cars do not prevent roads from existing. Paused music does not erase the song. Resting consciousness changes nothing about reality. You can stop. Everything will be fine. The universe does not require your awareness to function properly. You are allowed to step back to disengage, knowing that nothing will fall apart in your absence. This is also true for worries. Worrying does not influence planetary motion. Concerns do not alter orbits. Anxiety does not bend gravity. Worries pass like clouds. Notes fade like echoes, and weight slowly lifts when you stop carrying it. Nothing here needs fixing tonight. The cosmos does not respond to tension or urgency. Your worries can rest, just like you can. Time itself continues gently, whether we rush or rest. It flows like a river that does not notice footsteps along its banks. Sand falls steadily through an hourglass. A candle burns evenly, unconcerned with pace. Time is calm. Nothing needs hurrying. This steady passage creates space for ease, for softness, for letting go of effort. And within this gentle flow, sleep finds its place. Sleep is a natural state within the universe. Across Earth, countless living things rest as night arrives. Nocturnal quiet spreads, lights dim, systems power down. Rest is normal. Nothing resists sleep for long. You are aligning with something ancient and shared. As this understanding settles in, everything begins to grow quieter still. Silence is the most common sound in space. Sound needs matter to travel, and space is mostly empty, leaving quiet to stretch in all directions. You can imagine snow-covered fields where even footsteps disappear, or thick curtains that soften every noise. It feels like a breath held gently, not in tension, but in peace. Silence fills the universe. Quiet is the default, and within that quiet, there is comfort rather than absence. Even the sun exists in silence. Though it releases immense energy, none of it makes sound in space. You might picture a silent fireplace, glowing warmly without crackle or pop. Light shines without noise. Heat spreads without disturbance. The brightest thing we know does not need to announce itself. Power can be quiet. Strength can exist without disruption. Light itself travels without making a sound. Photons move through space silently, like footsteps without feet, or messages without voices. Motion does not always bring noise. Brightness doesn't shout. Light whispers nothing at all. This quiet communication is gentle and constant, filling the universe without ever demanding attention. Because of this, the universe does not demand focus or reaction. Nothing in space seeks your attention. Nothing is calling your name. You might imagine a painting hanging in a dark room, or a song playing with no audience, or a closed book resting peacefully on a shelf. You don't need to respond. Alertness can soften. Vigilance can fade. As alertness fades, awareness naturally begins to dim. Consciousness doesn't shut off suddenly. It lowers gradually, like lights being turned down one by one. Fog thickens, edges blur, focus dissolves. Noticing becomes optional. Thinking drifts away. This fading is safe. It happens every night without harm. Letting go, after all, is not the same as losing. Rest is a pause, not an ending. Like closing your eyes, or pausing music, or placing a gentle comma in the middle of a sentence. Nothing disappears. Everything waits. And as this understanding settles, the final, gentle descent begins, carrying you towards sleep with nothing left to do. The solar system has no finish line. Motion in space does not lead toward a final destination or a moment of completion. There is no place it is trying to reach, no goal waiting at the end. You might imagine a road without signs, stretching gently onward, or a circle with no edge that never quite closes. The universe tells a story without urgency, one that does not rush toward a conclusion. There is nowhere to arrive. Nothing needs to be completed. And in that realization, a quiet freedom appears, the freedom to stop striving and simply rest. Because there is no finish line, nothing in the solar system is in a hurry. Planetary motion unfolds slowly and steadily, like a pendulum swinging at its own pace, or a leaf drifting downward through still air. Even tides in space feel calm and predictable. Everything moves slowly enough. Speed is optional. This slowness is not inefficiency. It is safety. It allows motion to continue without strain, without surprise, without pressure to move faster than is comfortable. This calm pace is also reliable. Orbits rarely change suddenly. Planetary paths are worn in over immense stretches of time, like familiar routes carved into stone. They shift so gradually that change feels like a whisper rather than a command. Nothing jumps or startles. The universe prefers long habits and gentle adjustments. Predictability here is not boring, it is comforting. It allows trust to settle in, the kind of trust that lets you relax your grip and lean back. That trust is built directly into the structure of space itself. Gravity creates dependable motion, holding worlds in place without effort or demand. You might imagine an invisible net spread beneath everything, or a steady hand guiding motion without pushing. There is a quiet agreement written into the fabric of the universe. Things stay where they belong. Support is constant, whether it's noticed or not. You are being held without needing to hold on. This holding continues even when you rest. Sleep does not interrupt the universe. While you sleep, planets continue their paths, stars continue to glow, and gravity continues its gentle work. You can picture trains passing quietly in the distance at night, clocks ticking softly in empty rooms, lights staying on without supervision. You can step away. Nothing pauses without you. Vigilance is not required. Everything continues safely on its own. In fact, sleep mirrors the rhythm of the cosmos itself. Night follows day. Tides recede. Music resolves into quiet. Rest belongs here. Sleep fits perfectly into the larger pattern, not as a disruption, but as a continuation. When you sleep, you are not stepping out of harmony. You are moving deeper into it. And with that understanding, surrender begins to feel natural and safe. Darkness is not a threat in space. It is the natural backdrop of the universe, the canvas on which light gently appears. You can imagine it like a night sky blanket settling over everything, or curtains drawn slowly at the end of the day. Darkness is normal. Nothing hides in the dark. Instead, it offers quiet and privacy, a soft place where movement slows and rest becomes possible. Darkness supports sleep rather than opposing it. Within this darkness, there is also no judgment. The universe does not watch or measure. Space has no awareness, no intention, no opinion. It is like empty theaters where no one is seated, unwatched sunsets fading on their own, quiet halls where footsteps never echo. Nothing is watching. You are not being evaluated or observed. This absence of judgment creates space to relax fully without needing to perform or prove anything. Because nothing is watching, letting go requires no effort. Relaxation does not need to be forced or achieved. It happens naturally when resistance fades. Hands open, shoulders drop, breath softens on its own. You don't need to try. Rest happens by itself, like water settling when it is no longer stirred. Ease replaces effort, and the body remembers how to relax without instruction. As the body relaxes, thoughts begin to grow quieter. Mental noise softens the way static fades when a signal clears. Lights dim gradually. Fog settles gently over sharp edges. Thinking grows softer. Noise fades. There is no need to push thoughts away. They slow naturally, losing momentum until silence begins to form inside. With thoughts quieting, awareness narrows to simple sensation. Consciousness becomes less about ideas and more about comfort. There may be a sense of floating, or the feeling of warm blankets, or a gentle rocking motion that doesn't come from movement at all. There is nothing to focus on. Just being is enough. Presence exists without effort or direction. From here, sleep takes over. And sleep is not a fall. It is a soft landing. It arrives gradually and safely, like a feather settling onto still air, or a boat docking quietly at the end of a long journey. Lights go out one by one. You're not falling away from anything. You're arriving somewhere gentle and familiar. With that understanding, the final moments drift closer, calm and unhurried. The solar system will continue long after tonight. While you rest, the planets keep moving in their familiar paths, and the stars continue turning quietly in the dark. You can imagine a clock ticking softly through the night, or distant trains passing unseen while a city sleeps. Everything continues. You don't need to stay awake to make it happen. This steady continuity can feel comforting, like knowing the lights will still be on in the morning. Responsibility loosens, and the need to watch or manage gently fades away. Nothing you've heard tonight needs to be remembered. Knowledge does not ask to be held onto during rest. You can picture notes dissolving into air, chalk washing away from a board, or a page turning itself without effort. You don't have to hold on. The facts can drift wherever they like. Forgetting is allowed here. It makes room for deeper rest, creating space where the mind can finally settle. Forgetting, in fact, is part of falling asleep. As consciousness softens, memory loosens its edges. Details fade first, like fog rolling in across a quiet field. Footsteps disappear behind you. Lights dim one by one. Sleep erases edges without harming anything. Nothing important is lost. It's simply a gentle smoothing, preparing the mind for stillness. As those edges soften, the mind naturally simplifies. Complex thoughts give way to simpler shapes and feelings. It's like a room slowly emptying, or music slowing until only a single note remains. Colors blend. Nothing needs explaining anymore. Simple is enough. Ease replaces effort, and quiet begins to take over. That quiet is a sign of readiness. Silence often arrives just before sleep does. You might imagine a theater moments before the curtains close, or a breath held gently without tension. Night settles in, unannounced. Quiet means it's time. Nothing more is needed. Acceptance replaces anticipation, and release becomes possible. And release happens without decision. You don't choose sleep in the way you choose actions during the day. Sleep arrives on its own. Hands unclench. Ice melts. Gravity eases its hold just a little. You don't choose sleep. Sleep chooses you. Trust in the process becomes natural because it has always worked before. As awareness fades further, attention narrows to comfort. Sensation becomes more important than thought. Warm blankets, soft pillows, a gentle, comforting weight. Just comfort remains. Nothing else matters. Safety is felt rather than understood, and surrender becomes effortless. Surrender itself is a natural process. Letting go is automatic, not forced. Like leaves floating on still water, or tides pulling gently back from shore, or lights dimming fully at the end of the day. Letting go happens by itself. There is nothing to do. Ease and trust settle in together. Sleep may already be beginning. The body might already be resting more deeply than you realize. Doors close softly. A boat drifts without direction. A dream begins to form somewhere beyond thought. You may already be asleep. This might be the last thing you hear, and that's perfectly fine. Crossing over is gentle. And if one thought remains, let it be this: you are safe. In this moment, safety is present, like a harbor protecting quiet waters, or a closed door keeping the night outside, or a steady darkness that holds everything gently. You are safe. It's okay to sleep. You've done enough for today. There is nothing left to listen to, nothing left to follow, nothing left to understand. The solar system continues quietly beside you. Planets turn, stars glow. Gravity holds everything gently in place. You don't need to pay attention. You don't need to stay awake. The universe does not notice the difference. If sounds fade, that's okay. If thoughts stop forming, that's okay. If this voice disappears, everything continues just the same. You are not missing anything. You are not late. You are not forgetting something important. You are resting. The night knows how to hold you. The darkness is calm. The motion is steady. If you ever return another night, this place will still be here, waiting quietly, without urgency. For now, there is nothing to do, nothing to hear, nothing to be.